It is the Riot Podcast, Tuesday, June 6th edition. We're going to start off the program the way we so often do with some beauty bonus content.
Love beauty.
Yeah, who doesn't? I've got the hottest new beauty trend, and it is Trap Talks.
Trap Talks.
You get Botox into your traps.
So essentially just like making them smaller, what?
Yeah, I don't even understand. I guess, as a beauty expert as I am, I should know more about how Botox works because although it's an injection, it actually, from some of the pictures I'm seeing here of women that have done this, it kind of slims down your neckline and, instead of your shoulders being a little more triangular, you could say, it kind of gives them more of a curvature to them. From your neck to your shoulder, it's like a nice curve situation.
So I think,
does that make sense? I mean, you can see the pictures too.
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
Yeah, it just makes your traps smaller.
Yeah, right. It shrinks down the traps.
My question with this is, when you think about body types, because obviously the first thing that we would pick to change about ourselves wouldn't be our traps, probably. But these women obviously,
and if anything for us, we'd make them bigger.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't make them smaller.
Yeah.
But what do you think is like the worst body type look? Because I don't think
What kind of question are you asking me right now? What kind of question?
Am I cornering you? Am I cornering you?
I'm not going to answer that.
You should answer it. There's a lot of different body types.
I'm going to make somebody feel bad.
Do you know the
as
different...
if they think my opinion is important.
How about this? Do you know the different body types? Like, do you know what you are? You a pear?
Oh. Some people have described me as a melted candle. Does that count?
A melted candle? I never heard that one before.
No, I have a very unique body type.
The melted candle. Do you know all the different ones? There's a pear and a par, all those ones.
Pear is hourglass, one of them.
Hourglass is one of them. Yeah.
What are the other options? I guess I don't know.
The different ones that we've got: the triangle, the inverted triangle, the rectangle, the oval, the hourglass are the main ones.
So which one do you think I am?
You are probably
hourglass.
It's pretty much what it is you can measure. We can measure and find out.
Ooh,
so we take a tape measure.
Good content.
Yeah, because I have one of my gal friends the other night. We had a party at her place, and she was measuring everybody and telling them what they were.
Yeah,
which was very humbling.
So you know what you are.
Yeah, I know what I am.
Yeah, what are you?
So I am...
We're pretty similar, right?
Yeah, we're pretty similar. I don't know what it's called. Because there's I know what these ones are, but I don't know which one of these is what I am. Because I wasn't quite hourglass. I was the one where my butt was a little bit bigger than my chest.
Ooh.
So I think I'm a pear. I think that's what that's called.
Okay.
I think I'm a pear. I think I was almost an hourglass. But I need to broaden my chest a little bit more before I can be an hourglass.
Yeah.
But yeah, so essentially you just measure out your chest right here, your bust, I guess that would be right. Your waist and then around your butt.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on how those stack up to each other, if you have a wider hips, then you do chest, then you're a pear. If you have a tight stomach and then these are both wide, then you're an hourglass, all along that line.
Well, if you're more of a pear, I'm probably more of a long neck gourd. Like a decorative gourd that you would see at the Thanksgiving in the Horn of Plenty. That's
the thing that never gets eaten. It's just in there for complete decoration.
I don't even know if it's edible.
I don't know if it is either, but
it
it's just
serves
there.
no helpful purpose.
But it's there for Thanksgiving because it has to be there.
Yeah,
because it's colorful.
Somebody's growing them.
Yeah, I would say I think that's a pretty good one. I think probably the rectangle.
Yeah,
I don't know though.
Standard.
I think you could be a pear.
You think I'm a pear?
I think you're probably a pear if I had to guess.
That's
just based off of looks.
That's not a bad one, right?
I think just based off of looks, which I think in this one is considered a triangle. I think is what they're calling it, probably a triangle. But I think, obviously, my preferred is the hourglass.
Of course, that's the ideal. That's the
hard to attain.
It is, yeah.
But I think
we'll get there.
If you just, as long as your traps aren't too big.
Yeah,
that could ruin. If you're an hourglass with big traps, then
it throws the whole.
You might as well not
off.
even be an hourglass with those big things.
Yeah.
No, I think it's wild that the whole long neck part of this too.
Yeah,
that they want a long neck.
Because we just in a recent podcast intro, doing more of this bonus content, we discussed how I wish I had a shorter neck. So, and then I'm seeing these women that are engaging in trap Botox injections, making their necks look longer. And so solutions-oriented guy, what if I and a lady just had a neck transplant?
A neck switcheroo.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
I get a shorter neck. I stop looking like a giraffe, and you get a nice, long, beautiful, slender neck. If it's hairless and paired with your nice traps, it probably
look good.
Probably look a lot better.
See, because
on you than me.
And then when I look at these photos, like some of them you can't really tell, but there's two of them, 2 of the 3 photos that they have the before and afters. I think it's a pretty noticeable change, and I do think it looks better.
It does look better. I think it looks marginally better. We didn't mention that it's like $1,000 an injection or whatever, at least.
Oh yeah.
So is it that much better?
I don't know if it's for every how long?
Well, they say the best thing to do, at least according to one person, is doing it every 3 months.
But that's what they say about all Botox, and you don't have to do that.
It creates muscle atrophy, which sounds bad to me, but it creates a beautiful aesthetic outcome if you do it every 3 months and atrophy your muscles.
Yeah, that's what they want you to pay as much money as possible. So the same thing with like the preventative Botox that you can get in your face. They're like, come back every 2 months. Every week you should get another shot.
Yeah.
But realistically, if you do it like once every now and then, you probably be good.
Probably be good, especially when it's your traps. And you know who's paying attention to their traps? I'm going to say probably not a lot of people.
But I'll tell you this much. If you're going to get it done, you should get it done right before the summertime.
It makes sense.
You want to wear like the strapless dresses and things like that. It is noticeable.
If your traps are too big, the straps slide right off.
Mm-hmm.
I have to imagine.
Yes.
I don't have experience with that, but you don't want to have too much of a slope for that.
I mean, if you go to the gym, you'll see some girls with some traps rolling. Honestly impressive.
This is my favorite quote from this group of people, this group of women that have engaged in trap talks. One says, I saw a photo of myself with a off-the-shoulder top, and I thought, whoa, my traps are wild. And then I began to worry, how long have I looked this way? Have people noticed and just never said anything out of kindness?
No.
Nobody's noticed your traps are wild in your eyes.
No, not at all. Like, that's the wild thing, too, is everyone thinks that people are paying way more attention than they are. It's crazy. Like if my traps were looking big, if I had been hitting the gym for like 5 years, and my traps just got huge, my friends would still never say anything.
Of course,
whether they look wildly different or not, nobody notices. Nobody knows.
I mean, if you're a beautiful woman, then people are going to notice other parts of your beauty before your traps, whether they're good or bad, a part of you. And if you're not a beautiful woman, then people are probably going to notice other parts of you that maybe you're not as proud of before they notice your traps.
Yeah, it's
really the last on the list.
No one is
near
going
the bottom
for the traps. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a beauty trend. We spent way too long on this.
Way too long.
All right.
Today, the podcast, we got some good stuff. Married men making big mistakes, texting during weddings, things like that. Lots of fun stuff.
Yeah. And tomorrow's Would You Rather Wednesday. The question is, I'll give you the brief version. Would you rather have perfect driving conditions for the rest of your life or never have to wait in line for anything? 8772 RadioU, or leave it in the comments, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
See you guys.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
What is the best place to sit in a movie theater? You have a preferred spot?
It just depends on what era of my life we're talking about.
Oh, you have different spots for different eras.
Mm-hmm. When I was younger, I would say under the age of 13, I wanted to sit in the back row.
Well, what do you know when you're that age?
Well, it wasn't that I always sat there, and that wasn't because I chose it.
Oh, it's because your mom had to keep you there in case you misbehaved?
I think so, which I didn't realize at the time. I thought that was the best seat.
She needed to escort you out.
My mom would take us
easier.
My mom would take us to the top row, which I assumed yet again was because that was the best spot.
Yeah.
It was not. I think it was because we were normally coming in late.
And that makes sense too.
So then we didn't get one of the primo seats.
Disturb everybody, yeah.
And we would go to the very top, and then we were out of the way if we were like bad or something. Which during movie theaters, we were not bad. Like during movies, we were always good.
You had something going on.
But I think it was just easier. I have a larger family too, so we could all go up there, and there was always room for us.
Yeah.
Now that I'm above the age of 7, I no longer think the top row is the most ideal spot. But everybody knows like where it is. It's it's an eye level seat in the middle.
Yeah, like right in the center of the theater.
Yeah.
I think it depends. It depends on the theater. I'll get to my thoughts in a second, but I will tell you, Christopher Nolan, you know him, right? famous director. He's got the new movie Oppenheimer coming out on July 21st, which looks fantastic. It's causing quite a conflict for me because that comes out the same day as Barbie, and I just don't know which one is more important to me. But he also, he's known for doing the Batman movies, The Dark Knight. He did Inception, and he has an interesting thought on the best seat in the movie theater. You think anybody would know, it might be him, right? He makes some of the biggest Hollywood blockbusters, some of the most highly thought of movies of our time. And he says if he's seeing a standard movie, not IMAX, the best spot is near the front, middle of the third row.
That's pretty close.
That's real close.
He's never been to a movie theater.
I think Christopher Nolan's been to a theater.
Why would he go to a theater? He makes movies.
So he wants to see other people's movies.
No, he doesn't.
He does.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, it's a community.
Have you ever been in another radio studio just for fun on a Tuesday? No.
Not on a Tuesday. But I listen to other radio stations sometimes so I can steal from them. I think if anybody would know, he would know. But this does call into question his judgment for sure. Third row is too close. That's going to strain your neck, right?
I mean, it's obvious that he's an idiot. Like, do we need to go on more? Does anyone that's listening, do you agree you should sit in the front row of the movie theater?
Yeah.
Obviously not.
I think there's room for debate. I just know
there's no debate for that.
It's not the third row. It's definitely not.
Yeah, there's no debate for the front row of the movie theater. I mean, if you wanted to say, I would even say if you like the top row, you could make a debate for the top row.
You could make an argument for it.
You could make a debate for the middle row or even like the very first row in the upper section.
That's what I like.
Because then you got that bar in front of you or whatever, and you can sit your feet on if you want to.
I think that's the primo spot.
Yeah, you could make that argument. No, I mean, yet again, I don't think Christopher Nolan, by this take here, has ever been to a movie theater. Because whenever you go to a movie theater, no one's sitting down there. Not a single soul.
Not if they can avoid it.
Yeah, because you don't want to be in pain the whole time.
Yeah.
You're going to walk out, you're not going to be able to see for like 3 days. You better have your blue light glasses on or whatever when you're sitting that close. Goodness gracious.
Maybe he's talking about his own movies, though. Maybe if you do go see Oppenheimer this summer, it's best enjoyed from the middle of the third row from the front of the theater.
I think I know actually why he's saying this. It's because he thinks that everybody, because yet again, it's Christopher Nolan, he thinks that everybody has a home theater. Like a movie theater in their house. Oh, yeah,
and the third row of that.
Must be a primo spot in his house. So
might not be bad.
I think he doesn't understand that the little people like us, we go to the movie theater, which is this huge space where if you sit that close, the screen's way bigger, a little more intense. His little smaller theater in his own home, probably like his second one that he has in there, the third row might be the best one.
You're onto something, I think.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot. RadioU.
We got a problem on our hands. The problem is lightning bugs.
Lightning bugs?
Lightning bugs, or do you call them fireflies?
I call them lightning bugs.
I'm not exactly sure what I call them.
Go back and forth?
I'm interchangeable.
I do a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think I know. Clearly I know what people are talking about if they say either one. But what do I naturally default to? I just don't know.
I naturally default to lightning bugs.
Lightning bugs it is. We'll roll with that. Well, the problem is that for lightning bugs, many are in danger of disappearing here in the United States.
They do say that it seems like there's less of them.
Who's they?
Everyone.
You? Just
like normal people. It's a thing on the internet and stuff. If you're on Twitter, you see it a lot.
Well, people are very observant then because there is less of them. I have some information here that basically says that throughout most of the southern U.S. and much of the Midwest as well, like you go from Arizona over to Florida and then from Indiana over to Delaware and Maryland, you're seeing stink bugs or lightning bugs.
Well, that's not right.
Yeah,
you had two options bugs. And you missed it.
Yeah. Lightning bugs are disappearing. Their numbers are dwindling. And people, like the experts, are concerned that we may see a disappearance of many different types of lightning bugs in our time.
It's wild because when you were a kid, they felt like they were everywhere. Like
yeah, it seemed like there was a lot.
If you went outside at nighttime when you had friends over, you could catch lightning bugs every single night.
Yeah.
Now, I don't even know the last time I saw one. I don't even know.
Do you think that could be in part due to you and I each grew up in more rural settings out in farmland away from the city, at least a little bit. And now we both live in the city in some capacity. You think they're more prevalent out in the middle of nowhere?
I think for me personally, I've been out in the country at nighttime.
Yeah, I guess so.
And like it's not like I haven't seen one this month. It's like I haven't seen one since I felt like I was like 12. I haven't seen one in a long time. But also, like, I feel like it's like we don't want any bugs around our houses. Like, if it's whether it's mosquitoes or bees or whatever it is, we're trying to push them all away. And now we're pushing the old lightning bugs away, which is like the one that I want around my house.
Yeah, they're actually they don't seem to cause any problems. I don't even know, what do they eat? Like, what does a stink bug eat? Or why do I keep saying stink bug? Lightning bug. Maybe it would be clearer if I said firefly. Wouldn't mix them up. What do they even eat? I don't know. But it can't be harmful. It's not like they're destroying our crops or something.
Yeah, I mean, they're not doing anything bad. They're like the best bug because they're actually cool. They're cool to look at, and they're fun to catch. Yeah. But there's a bunch of states now where they're endangered. They're not quite critically endangered, but they're endangered, and some of them are vulnerable. And it's a bunch of states. Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and New Mexico.
Jeez.
Actually, that's Arizona. Sorry.
You don't think that part of the reason they're disappearing could be that kids are catching them and not setting them free? Take. You don't think that could be it? It's all the children that have been catching them all over the years, and then they forget to set them free until it's too late. You don't think that?
I would lean no.
What is it then?
I would say it's probably all the pesticides you spray on the ground every day. Around your house when you're trying to get rid of mosquitoes. I think that's what it is. If I had to go out and guess, I would say it's probably, that's the only thing that makes sense to me on why they're all disappearing.
This is a supervillain question right here. Is it worth extinguishing all the mosquitoes if it also extinguishes all the lightning bugs?
Well, mosquitoes are the longest war we've ever had that we've never won.
Yeah.
I think yes. I hate mosquitoes. I would. You know what? If we get rid of mosquitoes and lightning bugs have to go, that's okay.
That doesn't set a great precedent, but I don't know if I disagree though.
I think it's the only way.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
The Apocalypse Super Truck.
Sounds cool.
Sounds cool. Take a look at it. It is $160,000 to get one of these, but they are for sale. It's literally a truck from a company called Apocalypse Manufacturing based out of Florida. And this thing is meant to take you through the apocalypse in style. Say things are about to get serious. Things are about to go down. If you got the Apocalypse Super Truck, you got nothing to worry about, baby.
But like in what scenario? Like what kind of an apocalypse are we talking about? Are we talking about like a hurricane?
Actually, this might not be bad in a hurricane. I don't know.
But also, you're going to get in your car during a hurricane? That seems kind of dangerous.
If your car's an Apocalypse Super Truck, then maybe so. I'll tell you that it definitely looks like the type of thing that if there was some kind of like riots or like zombie invasion, zombie horde that you'd have to mow through, this thing could do that for you. True 4x4. It's got, I mean, it really looks like a just wildly tricked out Jeep. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Let me tell you some of the features. This is how they refer to it: a medieval, barbaric design.
It is pretty barbaric.
That's what I look for in a vehicle. Is I want it to be barbaric more than anything. They say it's impenetrable to external forces, and it has the ability to ramp launch 10 feet off the ground. So it's basically a monster truck.
And who's using this? Like, who needs this in their life?
Who needs
No one.
Who needs any number of vehicles that we currently make in the United States? But would you not? You'd strike fear into the hearts of soccer moms everywhere if you pulled up to the Kroger in this.
I mean, if you're driving this, you're just a jerk, obviously.
You think you're a jerk?
Obviously. What do you mean? What kind of question is that?
You're not a jerk. You care about the safety of you and your loved ones.
If you're driving this, you're a jerk for sure.
You're just like to be prepared.
Like, why would you need that? For what?
In case things go down.
What are you talking about go down? Like if we just so happen to find ourselves in the middle of like World War VII and all of a sudden people are trying to shoot at our cars.
Yeah.
I think that
you never know. You never know. This is from Florida. They've lived through it.
Lived through what?
Everything.
What is this they you keep on talking about? If things go down,
you
if
never
we go
know.
through it,
You never
there's
know.
nothing that my truck out there or your car, like in a zombie apocalypse, there's no one that can withstand.
Your car couldn't handle a slightly icy parking lot.
What are you talking about?
This thing would bash through the tree that that screwed up the grill of your truck.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, I think if you're in any normal vehicle, you're going to be able to withstand just about anything that you're going to go through.
And besides that,
a typical day-to-day person.
Listen, besides it being a beast, it also comes with electric seats, a mirror, surround sound from a Harman Kardon speaker system, a bird's eye camera, parking sensors, and a panoramic sunroof if the weather happens to be nice on the day.
Well, that's going to kind of mess up the whole impenetrable thing.
Reckoning.
Yeah. You're not going to put that down.
No, but you can once you escape town and make it out to your ranch in Montana where it's safe. You'd be fine. You could enjoy the breeze and sunlight.
See, for me, yet again, I'm not a big car guy. So this is sick, really cool, but just not for me.
It's $160,000. That's for just 3 times the price of your truck. You could have.
That's like 6 times the price.
850 horsepower and full-time 4-wheel drive.
Just in case I wanted to pull a house.
They say it's the only vehicle that could comfortably accommodate somebody who's 7 feet in the back row.
What?
Yeah.
Yet again, another unnecessary. This is so unnecessary. But yet again, if you had $160,000 to spend on a vehicle, you like unnecessary things.
It might not be your first car. Maybe it's something you just use on the side.
Tough to argue.
It's just in case. Just in case is all I'm saying.
Yeah, just in case. You never know.
You could spend $160,000 on a luxury car, a Lamborghini or something. What good is that going to do you? Or you can spend it on this and be prepared.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.
You know how it is every time there's somebody who lives to be, I'd say about 100. Anybody who lives over 100, there's always people asking them, what's your secret to living so long?
How'd you do it?
How did you do it? What did you eat? What does your life look like to get you to 100 years old? I have a 108-year-old woman from the UK who has shared her secret to long life, and I think you're going to like it. Her secret to long life is twofold. 1, have dogs.
Got that down?
A proud owner of many greyhounds throughout her life. So she says that was part of her key to life. The other key to living to 108 years old, no children.
Also have that down.
Have dogs.
I'm on track for 106.
Don't have children, and you could make it to 108 years old like this woman whose name is Ada Daniel from the UK. The reason that she is in the news, besides sharing these secrets at her 108th birthday, this is the flip side, I guess, the stark contrast to having no children and living to 108 is when you have no children, you have no grandchildren. So she's 108 years old. She doesn't have a ton of people. She's living in a care home, doesn't have a ton of people left. So the care home put out a call to get people to send her cards. She got over 300, pretty impressive. And she looks pretty happy. And her key was having greyhounds and never having children, according to her.
What's wild, this is what's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So she has no children.
Mm-hmm.
She has no grandchildren.
Yeah.
And she's over 100 years old.
Uh-huh.
So everyone that was probably her friend has for sure passed away.
You would think.
She's probably the only person. Because even if for people that were 20 years younger than her, they're 88. So they're even up there in age as well.
Uh-huh.
And so for her, it's just her hanging around left.
Yeah. Hopefully she, clearly she found a few friends because she got over 300 birthday cards. So that's a positive. And again, she looks quite pleased, quite happy with herself there at 108 years old. She actually, she looks pretty healthy for a 108-year-old.
She's still cooking along.
Well, yeah. Who knows how long she can go. So that is impressive. I think this information should be taken with a grain of salt because I also saw some research today that says that some scientists believe the key to living over 100 years old is actually your gut bacteria. something you have really no control over.
What's wild is
So it could be that.
we just don't know. There's nothing really that goes it like there's nothing that like combines them all. You know?
No. I mean, we could trust the scientists and say it's your gut bacteria, or we could trust Ada and get some greyhounds and not have kids.
Ooh, that sounds tough.
Tough
Greyhounds.
call. Who to listen to?
They seem a little bit much for me. I'll stick with my dog Jim for now.
Yeah, I think a greyhound would have too much energy for you to handle.
Yeah.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow at RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
One of our top stories today comes from Apple. Yesterday was their WWDC event. I think that stands for Worldwide Developer Conference.
Oh, wow. That's pretty impressive of you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And the big news, the top news, of course, Apple unveils all of these new gadgets and updates and whatever. But the thing that people are really talking about is that, well, let's hear this line from Craig Federighi, Apple's software chief. This is a quote. He says, "In those moments when you just want to type a ducking word, well, the keyboard will learn it too. Apple's going to let you cuss.
What do you mean let you? They've already let you.
They're going to make it easier for you to cuss.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
By how?
They're going to stop censoring you with autocorrect.
Oh, autocorrect.
And swapping it to ducking, which I don't know that, it wasn't that Apple was intentionally doing that. I think they were just trying to be polite, you know. It wasn't that they were trying to stop you from saying it. It's just they didn't think it was appropriate to put cusses in to their, keyboard or whatever. But now it says, according to Apple, it will learn when you use words of that nature or other maybe words that you type routinely that aren't even words. It will start to learn and adapt and incorporate those in and stop changing them. Maybe if you got a friend with a uniquely spelled name or something like that.
Learning slang, essentially.
Yeah.
Of your own little, that's cool.
Yeah.
Adaptive. I think that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Helpful.
That is, and it just so happens that I also happen to have here that I just learned swearing can be beneficial to you as well, according to some studies.
Really?
It just so happens that came out right around the same time that says, now I don't know if typing swear words into a keyboard is going to have the same effects as like scientists that say that if you're allowed to say the same curse word over and over again when you're experiencing pain, it increases your pain tolerance or makes the pain feel less painful type thing.
No way.
Yeah, but I don't think typing that into your iPhone is going to help as much.
I don't think saying it's going to help either.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't think repeating the same word over and over again is going to make anything hurt any less.
It's a study that's been done.
Yeah,
Besides that, I'm pretty sure they tackled this on Mythbusters as well, and it worked pretty well. I'm pretty sure.
No way. I don't believe it.
You don't believe it?
I don't think what you can say can make anything hurt less.
It's the placebo effect. It's all in your mind.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Which, I mean, some might say that a lot of our curses are just all in our mind as well. Like some people think they're real bad, some people don't, and some of them go back to being bad years and years ago, but maybe now they don't mean the same. I don't know. I think it's all up for debate. I'm not going to debate it on the show because we would get off of the air.
We would get fined.
But yeah, most of all. But besides that, we might just get fired anyways, regardless of what the FCC says. But I'm not going to get into that whole debate. But I'm just saying there's science behind it.
It's weird that science can even come with verbal phrases. That just seems kind of crazy to me.
What do you mean?
Like I just don't. Yet again, I don't see like cussing. That doesn't make anything hurt less for me. It makes nothing hurt less for me.
It's not.
It doesn't even make me feel better.
Maybe it's not a cuss word for you. Maybe you have a different word that might make things hurt less. Maybe your word is banana.
Banana.
Yeah. Maybe if you just convince yourself, or if it feels like in your mind.
Well, everybody has different things they say.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, baby girl. Oh, Jimmy John.
Jimmy John. You do not say Jimmy John.
Say whatever I want to say. Just whatever comes out in the moment is what you yell. And then does it help? Probably not. But does it make you feel a little better? Maybe.
I think saying Jimmy John, I can see how that might help.
It could help.
Actually, that feels like a curse, even though it's not.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
What is the most inconvenient thing you've ever done to help somebody out? and getting some good texts at 8772 RadioU. Eric, this one feels so just like we've all been through something similar. Eric texted in. He said he had to help his college buddy move out of his 4th floor college apartment with no elevator that could be used. It was too small. And then move it like 2 hours back to his place. That's a big undertaking.
But everybody does it, though.
It's still inconvenient.
It's inconvenient, but it's one of those things as a friend that we just all do.
You expect that to be asked of you at least at once in life?
Yeah, it's one of those things like if one of my friends was moving, like, yeah, it sucks that I have to be there. And I also have a truck. So I'm often called upon to help my friends move.
That's right, you do.
Yeah, so I'm often called upon to help my friends move or move things. I get asked all the time, and it's just one of those things that you have to do. You can't say no. You have to do it.
Yeah, which is why I've seen a lot of people make the argument that, especially, college is one thing, but once you get on a little bit in life, that you should never ask your friends to help move. Always hire the movers. It's a better move. It is a better option than putting strain on your friendship because your friends are likely going to say yes, but you have to be a close friend though to even ask.
I think it depends on age too.
Yeah.
Because like my age right now, I would ask all my friends to help because they're all 24 years old, very able-bodied people.
Yeah.
If I was like 35.
Yeah, but you know what I'd say if you asked me?
What?
I'd say I'm not a mover.
Well, then I wouldn't.
I'd say I am able-bodied, but if I wanted to move things, I would have become a mover.
See, but like that's our friendship. Then if you ask me for a favor, then I don't have to,
Yeah.
But I have people that would.
Yeah.
And I would for people if they asked me to help them move. I would always say yes. Because that's just one of those things you have to do. At least right now, when you're like 35 and you have like a family and kids, then you no longer ask people to help you move.
Hopefully,
if you're like living on your own with your buddy and the rest of your buddies come over and they're helping you move, it's a different experience than if I'm there with like my wife or my kids and I'm asking my friends from high school to come help me move.
Yeah, it's a little
bit different than it is right now, where it still feels like when I'm moving out, it essentially is the same thing as if I was moving out of college.
Here's a good one from Justin. He helped an employee change the brakes on their car, and then a few months later, the employee quit.
Nice.
Yeah. Man, I wish I had somebody that would help me change the brakes on my cars.
It's not hard to do. I can help you.
Oh, will you?
Yeah.
All right. If you help me do that, I'll help you move.
Yeah, I'm not moving.
But whenever the time arises, you're going to live with your roommate in that house forever.
I could.
One day, one of you is going to have to move. I'll help either one.
Okay, that's
I'll
fair
help
enough.
you move him out. If you need
that
to.
sounds perfect. Easy money.
Yeah.
Because moving is way worse. I think it's way worse.
You think worse than changing brakes?
I think so.
It probably takes longer.
Way longer.
But the moving agreement though is for me. I think if you are going to ask somebody to help you move, which has really become such a moving discussion, is you have to repay them with at least pizza.
Something. You gotta have something. You
gotta
can't
have
just
some snacks.
You gotta have something.
Not even snacks. You gotta have a full meal.
Something,
you owe them a meal. Mine was just going to be, I think everything, anytime you're in a wedding is inconvenient. That doesn't mean there's not fun parts of it, but when you're spending a bunch of money on like something you'll never wear again, when it's a wedding you have to travel to, so you have to get a hotel and all this stuff, that's like you're taking off your vacation days, all this stuff.
It is inconvenient.
Yeah. And you can't say no to that. You think you can't say no to moving. You cannot say no. Hey, I'd like you to be in the bridal party. No, thanks. I'd rather not.
I'll come. I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there for the fun, but I don't want to be a part of all that jazz.
Yeah. Well, if you've got something inconvenient you've ever done to help somebody, 8772 RadioU.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow at RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
The top story in the NBA yesterday comes from Kyrie Irving, who has got rumors swirling. The reports are that he has been trying to recruit LeBron James to come join him where he played the part of this past season, Kyrie did, with the Dallas Mavericks.
I like it.
You're a sports expert. You like it?
Mm-hmm. Good fit.
You think LeBron would fit well with Kyrie and Luka Doncic
Oh, yeah.
with the Dallas Mavericks?
I think he'd fit great. Way better than where he's at right now. For sure.
What makes you say that?
Because if there's one thing that you need to know about LeBron, and this is the only thing that matters, if you surround him with shooters, you will go to the NBA Finals.
That can work.
And the times that LeBron hasn't played well with people, I mean, you can name, LeBron, yet again, he's a fit on almost every team. He plays well with everybody because he can score the ball, he can rebound the ball, and he can pass the ball. But the thing is, when he's constantly driving to the rack, if you don't have people on the outside that can shoot, they just collapse on you, right? And there's only one player, there's really only one player that LeBron has meshed badly with. That was Russell Westbrook, as we all know. Because Russell Westbrook cannot shoot. He can't shoot.
That's more of a Russell Westbrook problem than a LeBron problem.
Well, yeah, he can't shoot. And so if you have people around, if you have perimeter guards around LeBron that cannot shoot the basketball, then it's not going to go well. Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic can shoot. They can shoot the ball straight up. And the other thing about LeBron is he's getting older now. Yeah. And so he doesn't want to play 82 games. He doesn't want to. Luka Doncic,
correct.
Like 22 years old, will play the whole entire season.
Gun.
He's a young gun, will play the whole season. Kyrie's going to be in and out, but Luka can carry the ship, carry it all the way, and then LeBron can come in spurts, come in during the playoffs, be refreshed, be ready to go. He's like 40 years old. Yeah. And so he can't be the one, like on the Lakers, AD, who's supposed to be the young one of the two, can't play a whole season.
He can't stay healthy.
So LeBron has to carry the weight of the season on his shoulders, and then by the time playoffs roll around him, he's broken down, he's beaten up. He needs to not play barely at all during the regular season, bring him in for the playoffs, let him take you the rest of the way.
Let me ask you a couple of questions on this, though. One, first of all, clearly the first question, why does LeBron have to go to Dallas? Why can't Kyrie come to LA if he's so concerned about playing with LeBron?
I think it's a better fit. It's a better fit in Dallas. The team's built better.
If you have LeBron, Kyrie, and Luka Doncic, you're not going to have a lot of room for any other player.
Yeah, you don't need anybody else.
You can't play 3-on-5.
You can with
particularly
LeBron. You can with LeBron.
Particularly when two of the guys can't stay healthy. Kyrie also has health issues, besides the fact that you never know when he could be suspended for something else wacky. And, you can say, answer me, riddle me this. LeBron, he doesn't want to have to play 82 games, right? He's getting on in years. He can't take that toll on his body anymore. But you know what? Playing with Kyrie and Luka Doncic would have, what kind of toll that would take on your mind, trying to keep those two lunatics in line.
But wouldn't you say also...
That would be more taxing, arguably.
Wouldn't you say, so if you say the Kyrie should come to the Lakers, you're saying that LeBron, Kyrie, and AD, because obviously if you have those three on your team, you don't have much room for anybody else. Yeah. And those three, nobody's playing. AD and Kyrie... Nobody's suiting up. I would rather have Luka and Kyrie because Luka, yet again, he's going to play every game the whole season. AD is going to play 20 games. Another
problem I have, and you're right, if it's LeBron, AD, and Kyrie, LeBron is, between the three of them, they're always injured between the three. But if you have LeBron, Luka, and Kyrie, you're not going to have a lot of... not a lot of defense being played because Kyrie and Luka don't do that.
They don't.
And LeBron may be injured. So... that isn't a great combo either.
So which one do you think? Where's he fit better, Lakers or Mavs?
I think the best thing LeBron can do is just avoid Kyrie.
Just avoid him, really? Yeah. Even though that they won a ship together a couple of years ago?
Yeah, that was... They were both younger, and particularly LeBron was a lot younger then. It was a different time.
Fair enough.
A different time, and maybe it was easier to keep Kyrie in line at that time.
I'm for a reunion. LeBron doesn't put up with that stuff.
He can find a younger, better partner
than Luka Doncic.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.
You're a single guy. You're a single working guy.
I am single and I am working.
You ever get worried about burnout?
Burnout from what? The working or the singleness?
From working. You ever get worried that you're going to get too mentally exhausted? It's going to just really cause havoc in your life.
See, I'm still so young into my working career that I haven't felt the total burnout yet, but I could see that happening at some point in my life. Like people that have been working for like 20 years at the same job, doing the same thing, going back to your same life every day. I could see burnout there. For me right now, there's a lot of different variables going on in my
That's
life
right.
of things that I'm doing. That yet again, I'm not married. I have no girlfriend, so I can kind of do whatever I want after work. It's a grand thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm not too worried about the burnout.
You have a lot of friends that are in similar situations.
Same.
If
Yes.
you give it a couple more years, all of a sudden you might have a bunch of friends that are married. Some of them might even have kids, and they're not as even though you are free after you get off work to go do whatever, wherever. There might not be people that are as excited to do it with you
True.
because they're
That is
busy
true.
with other life
They've
responsibilities.
grown up.
And therein lies where you could face, it's just everything becomes so routine. You start to feel mental exhaustion. You start to feel disconnected from your body, mind, and emotions, and feel less fulfilled. It's a real thing. It's a real thing a lot of people experience. But I have an answer. According to the National Research University Higher School of Economics, they say the solution to work-related burnout, getting married.
Oh no!
Particularly for young or for single men. So eventually, if you do find yourself, the moment you find yourself hitting a time where you think, I might be getting burned out, you got to find yourself a wife.
You need a wife.
Yeah. They say it applies.
Who wrote this?
It applies to women and men, but particularly it's even more correlation for men with work-related burnout and not being married. And this is, who said this? The National Research University Higher School of Economics.
I don't know about all this jazz.
It is in, it does look like that's in Russia. So can we trust anything the Russians say?
Not at this point, right?
I don't know.
Right?
This isn't a good time for them.
See, I think I can see. I mean, I can see it. I see what they're talking about.
Yeah. Because yet again, you could come out like right now. Again, you're hot dog, and you can go out. You can have a good time.
I am hot dogging right
You
now.
can do whatever you want. But a few years down the line, if a bunch of your friends just become a little less available, it's going to be a little less fun to just leave work and then crash at home and watch
TV,
watch The Bachelor all alone instead of having a watch party.
You know, I could see it. I could see it. I mean, obviously not right now.
Yeah.
But I can see it.
You don't want to go straight from single to being married right away. You gotta give it some time. But
I'm still trying to live this up while I got it. Like, I got to live it up now.
Yeah.
Because if I asked a bunch of married men right now, they're like 50 years old. I'm like, would you want to go back to when you were like 24, hanging out with your friends and stuff like that? They would say, yes. Right?
Yeah.
They would have to. I mean, everybody would say.
Well, at that point, maybe
if I can go back to when I was like 18 years old, everybody wants to go back to when they were younger. And so I think if you're feeling burnt out, just don't get feeling burnt out too early. Let it be a slow burn, baby. If you're feeling burnt out like 24, 22 years old, that's way too quick. You got to slow burn it. You're working too hard. Chill a little bit. Have a little more fun. And then you can get married.
I do wonder, and I have no data on this, but I wonder if maybe men that are, maybe the men that are married that have been married for a long time have marriage burnout.
Ooh.
Sounds like, I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Maybe they need to get a new job.
Yeah. You better.
Get married to their work.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot. Radio U.
Is this grounds for divorce? You've got a wedding. Beautiful moment. The new happy couple, husband and wife, they say their vows or whatever in front of the church, walking down the aisle, just married. And what do you see in the groom's hand but his phone?
Checking his phone?
Checking his phone, walking down the aisle after you just said I do.
Tough look.
That's a rough one, isn't it?
That's like a terrible look.
What could he possibly be doing on there?
I can't even imagine. Yet again, the day that you get married, that's like one of the most important days of your life. So what could possibly be so important that you wanted to check your phone?
Yeah.
Yet again, that is a wild, wild thing to do.
I was trying to think before watching the whole clip of just like trying to come up with a scenario in my mind of why it would be okay. And so the best thing I can come up with is what if he's got, a close family member, let's say his mom. Maybe she's not able to make it to the wedding. She lives far, far away. She has some medical condition, something. She can't be there, but she can like FaceTime in or whatever. Well, first of all, he's not checking his phone in a way that, where it's clear, like, hey, Mom, look, it
looks like he's scrolling Twitter. Like, it looks like he's checking a text message.
That's first of all. Secondly, two, why would you be like, do you have to hold the phone in that scenario? There's pictures and video. It's your wedding. There's going to be all kinds of people.
Walking down the aisle. Like they're leaving. They're walking down the aisle together as they just said, I do.
So think about how it's going to look in pictures if you're looking at your phone, even if it is somebody that, if there's a legitimate reason, just still the way you look, it's not good. And then finally, in the video, you see at the end, they exit out the front doors of the church, and the new bride kind of confronts him a little bit. And instead of being apologetic or explanatory, he just seems frustrated.
That's
so all around no good.
I mean, as a man here, this is crazy action. This is a wild action. Like, she is going to be so mad at you. There's no way you get out of this, right? Ever.
I mean, I don't know. To be yet again, is this in itself grounds for divorce? She just kind of ruined the wedding. Nobody's going to remember how beautiful she looked or how fun of a time it was. They're going to remember, what the heck was the groom doing on his phone?
Yeah, and like her whole family's there, like her whole family. Like, so people that you have like barely met, that are like her cousins and stuff, maybe uncles and aunts that don't get around that much, that live far away. And so they don't really know you that well. And then you're walking down the aisle with phone in hand. Like, for a lot of this, they're like, this dude seems like a jerk.
Yeah.
Total jerk move.
Peel your attention away to your brand new wife who put in more effort today to look amazing than any other day in the entire year. You can't look at her. You got to look at your phone.
He was allegedly texting someone.
You couldn't wait. You couldn't wait.
What would you possibly be saying?
The walk down the aisle was that long, and what you had to say was that important that you couldn't wait.
Just got married. Yeah. You're wondering. FYI. Like,
Heads up.
Like, you literally took 10 steps after saying I do and immediately pulled out your phone. Like, yet again, 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes? We could make 5 minutes?
The worst thing is to think about, like, they were standing there hand in hand, the preacher's reading the vows or whatever it is, to having to hold, and the whole time he's thinking, got to send that text.
I got to get a text out.
Rush this up. I got to send a text.
I got to get that text out.
Quickly.
I got to get it there. Yeah. Right when I say
I do. Whatever. I got a text to send.
Yes.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
Some real interesting numbers here. This is actually surprising to me. How many people... Okay, let me start over. Can we cut?
Of course.
All right, here we go. What percentage of people do you think have a side hustle?
I think it's always more than people realize.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people that I know, a lot of them have a side hustle.
Yeah, it feels like it. I mean, maybe it's just our age range. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what, though, a lot of times you see jobs that you would consider to typically probably be side hustles, and it's not our age range always working them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see whether it's, fast food part-time or delivery stuff or whatever. It's like, well, that's probably not their full-time job, and they're getting on in years. I will tell you here, I actually have numbers to back this up, that 39% of American adults have a side hustle, according to a new survey from Bankrate.
That's pretty high. That's
almost half of adults.
Almost 1 in every 2 people.
Yeah, basically, if you think every household in that line of thinking could very likely have somebody doing a side hustle. But I think it's important to point out, for many people with these side hustles, it's not side money that they're pulling in. Some people, like I've seen it on Reddit, they call it beer money. It's not just like...
It's not, no.
No, these are to supplement their full-time hustle income so that they have enough to live. Now, there could be a couple thoughts for that, right? It could be that they're not getting paid enough at their full-time jobs, whatever they may be, to really live. Or maybe enough people really suck with money.
A lot of people do.
They do need to have another job to be able to avoid that. But here's my hot take on that. I feel like 40% of people shouldn't, if we're all that bad at money, if enough of us are that bad at money, then I feel like,
that's crazy.
You shouldn't have to be accounting whiz, a budgeting whiz, to be able to live on a normal job.
Yeah, I mean, a normal job, typically, is you're working 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So if you're working more than 8 hours a day, I mean, that's a whole day. You're working 8 to 5. I mean, it's not, just so everybody knows, it's not 9 to 5 anymore. Nobody works 9 to 5. You're working 8 to 5. That's just how it goes. Because I mean, the lunch doesn't count.
Yeah.
They're getting you for a full 8 hours, and you have to get that hour lunch too, that you never use the whole thing. And so they're getting you for about 8.5. And if you're working after that, like you're getting up at 5 o'clock and you're working after that, that's wild. I know that not everybody who does a side hustle like needs that money.
No, but I'd say,
but a lot of people do.
A lot of people would give it up if they didn't need it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's one of those things too with all like the inflation stuff going on. I mean, some people are just having to work a little bit more, which sucks.
Yeah.
It really does.
I feel bad. I don't have a side hustle per se, although my wife works her own job from home and I get roped into that a lot. So I kind of consider that a side hustle for me.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't be doing it necessarily if she had a different job.
If she wasn't doing it?
Yeah. But nevertheless, it doesn't feel great to have to work that much. Some people say, oh, it builds character, or, just got to do what you got to do. I don't know about that. I think it's asking a lot of people.
But I'd also say that if you want to make a lot of money and your actual job doesn't, the best way to do it is a side hustle. And then your side hustle turns into your real hustle.
Yeah.
That's your real job.
If you've got the time for it, it's fun to have some fun money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like that's not what it normally is for people.
It's not usually, unfortunately, for most people.
Well, that's the reality. 40% of people, pretty much.
It's not just you, though.
Side hustling. Yeah,
you're not the only one.
You're not alone.
You've made it all the way to the end of the Worst of the Riot. This show only exists because of support from listeners like you. Find out more and help out at RadioU.com/donate.